my name is Magnolia Day and welcome to my channel. Today I am building a garden shop in a little city block in San Myshuno. This is my first build with seasons, but I wouldn't necessarily call it like a seasons build. But I mean, it is a garden shop, so I mean, that's kind of, I don't know. It's somewhat seasony, but not aggressively so. And I think you could maybe make this work with if you don't have seasons. I mean, it definitely uses some of the windows and the flower arranging table rather, but it's got other stuff going on too. There's 3 apartments above in the end. 2 have 2 bedrooms and 1 has 1 bedroom. I don't record my process of that or the cafe next door, but the cafe is included in the fly-through at the end, and you can kind of see the layout of the apartments. So ultimately, depending on your preference, this lot could be a retail lot for the garden shop, or florist, however you want to call that, though that's a bit of a semantics thing since it's not super florally. Or a residential or a cafe, though I'm not 100% certain. I'll have to check and maybe add whatever those required items are. I'm not certain if all the required items for a cafe are in here, but I think they are, given the past cafes that I've built. It's got tables, it has things to make coffee, barista stations. What else do you need? I mean, it's got a bathroom. Everything should be there for that. But I will check before I upload this. And I think I'll probably upload it as a retail shop. Though it will cost quite a bit of money for your sim to buy, so I would recommend using cheats for that. Took me quite a while to figure out the shape of this. Originally, I was going to have 3 different shops in here, and I was actually originally thinking of making that a restaurant, but a cafe was easier because I did not feel like playtesting a restaurant, and they're notoriously buggy, apparently, even though I've never actually really played with them. Like I think I've said in my past videos, I don't like actually play the game, so my playtesting more is just like making sure Sims can kind of get around and use like the important objects, which in this they can, so that is good. What else? Yeah, it took me a long time though to figure out exactly the shape of this. I think I'm just about there. End up changing the shape of like kind of the middle corridor. That's kind of just where you get up to the apartments. That changes a little bit, but other than that, it's about there at this point. The space on the left of the build, that also took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do with it. I was originally kind of thinking like a little park in that kind of grass space that I have left right there. But that felt a bit redundant given that this is in San Myshuno across from the Spice Market, which already kind of has a park, so it ends up just kind of being just like some seating. But you could obviously change that. And these windows, yes. I am absolutely in love with the windows and doors and everything that came with seasons. I almost said cats and dogs there, but seasons. Where I was having a strange glitch where the white swatch, I cut out that footage because I was originally trying to use it on the main part of this, which is the white brick part, is where the florist shop ends up being. The black windows with red brick is the cafe / where you get into the apartments. But I was originally trying to use the white swatches on the florist garden shop. I need to settle on a name for this. But they were not that white for me. And like I posted on Twitter and like people are like, what are you talking about? They're super white. And mine just like came off being much more off-white, and I don't know, maybe it's like with the new season lighting, maybe they were just showing up weirdly in my game, but I'm not sure. I haven't really tested that out because I haven't had the most time in the world to play the game, slash, I don't know, I just haven't been the most motivated to do that. But whatever. What are you doing now? Yes, just about settled with the final shape to this. Though I do add a garage back here for the red brick building, which I think finishes off that space quite nicely, even though I don't know how you would technically get to that garage, given that there's like little balustrades there, but let's just pretend those aren't there, or that, I don't know, you get to it some other way. I had a lot of trouble figuring out the tops of these buildings, the trims and everything, and just nothing quite felt right, and it still doesn't feel, oops, left in a low battery warning there. You guys can all see my very unprofessionalness and the fact that I use a Mac and I'm not a very good gamer. TM. I'm saying so much. I'm so sorry. Definitely, maybe one of these days I'll get more accustomed to doing these voiceovers, but it is my, fourth video now? So definitely by no means an expert at this, but oh God, just look at these windows. I really, really love the black swatches. They just feel so, they feel substantial in a way that I love the cats and dogs windows, but something about the frames on them didn't quite interact with like the mullions correctly, and the way they stuck out was a little strange. But these, I'm a big fan of the, what do you call that? I'm forgetting my window terminology, but the bits at the top and the bottom, how they frame, how they stick out, and they're just really nicely detailed. Definitely one of my favorite things that came with Seasons. Though, of course, I am hoping that somebody makes an add-on set to them, especially a one-tile version of that. I think it's a two-tile window. Yeah, two-tiled window. That's the full-length one that I use, full length on a short height wall. And I use that on the front of the red brick building. And I'm just, that's so pretty. So, I don't know. I finally did buy a external solid state drive though, and I'm going to try and get a working Windows system. I don't think I'll play Sims on it, but I want to make some custom content and do some other Windows specific things on there. So fingers crossed that I can get that to work, though I have not sat down and taken the time to format Boot Camp for it because that's intimidating and I've been procrastinating. And we're finally on the inside. So I tried to go a little bit brighter than is my, what I would usually go for, I guess. So it was definitely out of my comfort zone. Yeah. So it kind of ends up being very, use a lot of movie hangout, a lot of city living stuff, but I think I like how it ends up, even though, you know, my instincts are still telling me to go take out all those bright colors and everything, and just leave it as white and blacks with green accents from the plants. Oh, I like what I did with these, are they from Dine Out? I think they're for putting signs on. And to kind of make the trim appear in different spots than the game has it by default. And I wish we'd get more items like the ones that came with Jungle Adventure, where it's kind of like make your own trimming, however you call that. I'm not sure how you call that. I will just go with trims. I'm completely forgetting the word, especially how the game calls it. So my initial thinking, and I was really excited about this because at first it seemed to work, but the shadows just kind of got really messed up. But using these new planter objects and kind of sinking them into the wall so it seemed like they were all hanging individually rather off of the backing of the object. But when I went to start putting stuff then on those counters that I was using to hide the grass portion, it just, it didn't quite work. So, but I do use those in the greenhouse. So those objects do appear. And it was really these, I was trying to then push the other succulent planters into those counters. I mean, that's what really messed up the lighting. And I should have been able to recognize that, but I didn't at the time, and I just ended up kind of taking everything out and doing normal shelving. But it still looks cute. I'm gonna have to revisit that idea at some other point because I think it's definitely worth it. Though I am hoping that somebody, Brazen Lotus, separates those from their backing so that they can be used individually. But though I wouldn't have been using those in this anyways because this is a CC-free build. And yeah, I would like to figure out how to make that work with CC, without CC, not with CC. Oh, Molly, learn how to speak. Making the greenhouse a tiny bit smaller since, I don't know, that didn't actually make much sense. But what can you do? It looked better proportionally. I think it was looking very wide and compared to the size of the building. I don't know. Maybe it was okay. Maybe not. I don't know. And here, oh yeah, and I use these murals. I don't know if those those should stay when you download this, but I think they do degrade. But so if that does happen to you and you're, say, using this build, just go to the gallery, and I think I typed in nature murals, and I found a room that had this mural and another one, and yeah, you can just plop that on the lot and then, move it. You should be able to plop it on the very top of the roof. That shouldn't disrupt anything else if you do need to do that. There's a few other things in here that might need to be replaced or moved around, especially like I place a bunch of the debug new flower arrangements in, I think you've seen me make it at this point, little like fridge looking place. You know how flower shops usually have like a fridge with fresh flowers in it? That was kind of my thinking there. So you might have to replace those. Sometimes debug objects stay, sometimes they don't. It's kind of a toss-up to my understanding. Not that I actually download that many lots, since obviously that's what I prefer to do in the game, is to build. But by watching other people's speed builds, they've said that, so you might have to do that. But again, just, type in bb.moveobjects. No, not bb.move. Well, yeah, you won't want to type in bb.moveobjects, but bb.showhiddenobjects, and then just filter by seasons and debug, and you should pull up all those flower arrangements and be able to place them in there. Other things that you might have to change, like I think I said earlier, if you're setting this to a cafe, you might have to change a few things because I didn't super test that out, and I'm not sure if it meets all the requirements for a cafe, though I'm like 95% certain it does, but not 100. And then there's some flower pots out front that are raised using the 9 key, but since they're not in a room, they will fall. So just raise those once for each kind of stacking level. And they should go back to looking like they should. Other than that, though, I think this lot should come out looking as it does in the end, as I show it. Granted, I can't really say what it looks like in other seasons. I'm building this in fall. And yeah, I think that it's actually starting to look like fall. When I started this video, I was like, wait, I did build this in fall, but all the trees, I guess since it was the first day of fall in the game, they were still green. which is so nice. Such a good touch in the like transitions of seasons in this game. But I'm not sure what it'll look like in winter. Summer should look good. I tried to make sure all the plants out back, even though they're all gross amounts of desaturated, which is a gripe that I have with seasons. But they should all be color coordinated. They shouldn't look too weird, hopefully. I should probably check that out, but honestly, I'm probably not gonna. And I think I'm 95% sure it's okay. It also took me a really long time to decide on the colors of the walls and floors in this place. Like, oh, I don't know. Nothing felt, either it felt too bright or too neutral, and just, oh man. I have problems deciding things in this game. What else? So yeah, those are all those debug flower arrangements. I actually ended up having to replace them at some point because I painted a wall or something and they all disappeared. Not sure why. That's a glitch that happens. I'm actually not sure if they went into my inventory or if they totally disappeared, because yeah, I am building this with a sim on the lot, so I can test things as needed. What else can I say? Each retail space, the garden shop and the cafe, each have bathrooms. Since, you know, I didn't furnish the one upstairs, though there are space obviously for bathrooms in each of the apartments. Putting in the planters for the flowers here. I ended up taking those ones in the middle out and putting in the new succulent objects that came there. What else? Yep, there we go. Yeah, and I really like how that turned out. It looks, though it might be, like, I think if you're taking screenshots in there, you might want to remove that. I'm not sure. Maybe, maybe not. Because I ended up cutting the footage weird when I'm taking the fly-through of that shot, because it kind of clipped through those, but maybe that won't be as much of a problem with static screenshots or gameplay. I'm not 100% certain, but that's something you might want to do. Counters. I feel like I'm just talking in circles at this point. Again, trying to figure out the floors. Is this where I finally figure it out? I don't think it is. Is it? Nope. Yes? No? No, it's not. It is where I figure out the walls. So I try to make them, yeah, look, and I end up changing the walls on the outside to look like they're what's underneath the faded white paint there. Yep, here we go. And yeah, it is really hard to talk through these things. What am I at? Oh, I'm only a little bit over halfway through. Or am I halfway through? Yeah, I'm halfway through. Yeah, again, kind of struggling with the facade of this thing. I wasn't sure if I should have raised up those pillars a little bit further, but I didn't. Because, like, you know, like, facades of buildings are usually nicer than their sides, so that's what I was kind of trying to go for here. And I was struggling a lot. Why? Oh my god, Molly, pay attention to the names when you're clicking. Oh, what are those called? Well, we'll just go with trims. Those are not wall trims. Oh my god, I cannot think of the name. Anyways, I struggled with those. Here I had a back deck area for the cafe, which I think is really cute, and in my city we have a lot of those, and it's really nice when you have a cafe that has like a back patio that you can sit on and kind of escape from the city. And yeah, well, yeah, it feels like an escape, so that's kind of what I was going for here. And I think I start adding the ivy in, which is my number one gripe with the Seasons expansion pack, is that the vampire ivy does not change colors with the seasons. I think it gets snow on it, though I haven't really looked at winter yet, I haven't at all. Yeah, here. See, it stays bright green, which at first I was like, yeah, because that looks good then with that archway, and that archway doesn't change either. I just, Sims. But ultimately, the new ivy that came with Jungle Adventures does change color, and I mean, I'm assuming that their thinking in that was that the vampire ivy comes with 3 colorways, 2 of which are kind of fall-like. But in comparison with like those bushes that I put down, it's not at all the same kind of desaturated color. And it just looks ridiculous next to those. And I don't know, I need to go into Sims 4 Studio and figure out if I can change them into behaving like the Jungle Adventure ivy does, because I don't know if I've ever really done a build that doesn't have any ivy on it, and to not have my full sets is very annoying. But yeah, I could complain about that for like a really long time, slash the level that any flowering plant is desaturated is just ridiculous. Like, fall has really vibrant flowers as well, like chrysanthemums. Come on, Sims team. Come on. But I ended up getting the ivy to kind of work in a way that I liked, kind of layering up the Jungle Adventure ones with the vampire ones to like have a little bit more variance to it. And I think it ends up looking nice, but it would be nicer if I could have just used the Jungle Adventure ones and the vampire ones as they're supposed to be used. I'm not sure why I initially was putting a clothesline there. I think at this point I was still thinking of the upstairs apartments as maybe being more directly attached to the garden shop, but I end up changing that, and that gets removed. And there's not actually, I don't actually place anything in the, could you call that a backyard area of the garden shop? Besides, I mean, well, obviously there's the greenhouse. But there's not really much else out there. You could add some additional planters, some seating, or however you want to furnish that space. You can obviously do that. What else? Just adding some ivy to those fences to kind of give some more privacy to that space, since, I mean, you're in a city and that felt pretty open for being a business. Like, you would want more privacy back there, I think. I don't know, I don't own a business. What else? So I used these stepping stones from Get Together and kind of made a more elaborate arrangement with them. So I cut out most of that footage because it just took a while to decide what I wanted there. But I'm pretty happy with how that turns out, because I kind of wanted it to have the feel of, I know, like moss kind of getting through the cracks in the stones. And the usual terrain paint, again, is just really weirdly colored, and I don't know if that's part of the glitch that they mentioned, and maybe that's actually fixed, because I think they did fix the like weird colored grass that some people were complaining about. So that might be no longer an issue, I'm hoping, because the stones in the terrain paint, you know, like the real small stone one with the grass underneath, it was just so brown. Like, okay, the grass underneath should be brown, but not the actual stones themselves. Those don't change per season. I don't know if Sims just like, since they're based out of California, if they just have this like distorted idea of what seasons are like in other parts of the country and world, but like fall isn't as desaturated as they have made it. I don't know. I feel like such a minority being so annoyed with some of the things in seasons where everybody else is like, yay! And I'm just like, I want my colors back. I love fall in real life, but I don't know. And maybe because I'm playing in Sand My Shoe now. I don't know. So here, yeah, I kind of figured out how to do the ivy at this point in a way that felt in sync with the rest. I'm not sure if maybe in summer this might be a little bit too bright because the Jungle Adventure ivy is awfully bright in the rest of the time, I believe. Or technically they're brambles. Again, sorry that I had to cut out all the footage of the cafe. I would have liked to keep that, but I mistakenly didn't record some of it, and then I just had too long of a video with the little bit that I had of it, but hopefully it gives you a good enough idea to fly through at the end and the bits that I did include. Yeah, I think I like how it ends up being. It's kind of feels a little bit industrial to me, kind of like something slightly hipstery, but a more grown-up hipster kind of feel, like kind of almost like what a Starbucks is decorated like recently. I mean, it could even be like a chain coffee shop, I think. Minus like maybe you wouldn't have probably those candles on the back, but the rest of it I think you would potentially see in a chain. I don't know though. I was also having some weird lighting issues. I think I cut most of that out, but like a lot of the lighting just didn't seem to be lighting like it has in the past. Like some of the lamps just seemed really, really dim. Yeah, it was really annoying. So the lighting is not what I would have ideally liked to do in some places. Or maybe it's just, I don't know if I've ever actually really used that one wall lamp from, what is it from? Bowling Night? Bowling Stuff? Bowling? The Bowling Pack, whatever that's called. But it just wasn't lighting up anything. And like, it looked perfect with the build, but like, I did want there to be light coming from it. I guess I could have like overlaid it maybe with another light that was actually emitting stuff. But yeah, that was annoying. I'll have to check out and ask other people if that's an issue that they have with that light or if that's a new thing, because some people did say that they've also been experiencing problems with the lighting in-game. Oh, and here I finally am starting to figure out the final looks of this place. Yes. Again, kind of making it a little cutesy, with the little fairy lights there. I was initially going to put these, I think they're from Movie Hangout, lanterns, kind of hanging over the front counter, but I don't know, in my shots they just seemed to be getting in the way and I didn't like that, so I took those out and just kept the wall lights and then just some generic other lights. And I don't know, I mean, I liked the color they added, but they were just getting in the way a bit too much. Ooh, and I love these objects that are new with seasons, and they're just very, very cute. I ended up adding them to all the windows off camera, but I really like the look of this place from the street. Yeah. And like I said, I end up calling this, I think, or I will end up calling this a garden shop as opposed to a florist, because I do kind of have all these like do-it-yourself type objects here. I got the watering cans, the weed blower, and or vacuum. Is it a blower or a vacuum? I don't know. Regardless of which one it is, that's there, along with some flower pots there and out front. And I was also considering downsizing that one wall object that came with Get Together, with like the rakes, and maybe trying to see if that would look like little shovels, spades. Do you call those spades? Stuff you'd use more for like small scale planting. But I didn't have a wall left over, and I didn't feel like rearranging stuff yet again. But that is something that I will keep in mind for future builds and see if that would look like that. Just adding some detailing to the ceiling. I was going to try hanging off maybe some more hanging lights from that little, oh my god, why can't I think of any words today? From that ceiling bit there, but I didn't. What are they called? Spandrels. Spandrels. Thank you, appropriately timed thing. I do end up hanging lights off of these ones though, which is why I added them, so that I didn't have to just rely on wall lights or raising them up. Again, I wish these lights threw off a bit more light than they actually do. Like, it seems a bit incongruous, like how much light they actually give. If there's an override for that. But again, I'm keeping this CC free, which means I can't necessarily use overrides. Yeah, a little annoying. And I think I'm just about coming up to the end here, finishing off this little seating area that's to the side of the build. I do add a few, oh my goodness, sorry. I do add a few more things off camera when I was kind of going around making sure my sim could get to all the places. Just a few more clutter items, things like that. But ultimately, the build is done, and thank you for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.